Starting. Okay, we're on. We're on the air, Katie.
Hey, finally.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave.
I'm Katie.
A little slow on that, Katie, but we'll get it next time.
I'm doing as fast as I feel I should. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm guessing there was a lag there. That's why
Oh,
you were
okay.
behind. Okay. Anyways,
Well, this is going to be a fun conversation then.
yeah, there's going to be some technical stuff. This is our first time ever using Google Hangouts on air, and we have never even tested it before. So we're just like getting thrown to the wolves here, and we're gonna just talk and see what happens. So bear with us with that. What's today's episode about, Katie?
Well, so far, all of our episodes have been about Survivor, so why make this one any different? So Survivor Second Chance actually premiered, though, so we can talk about an actual episode now, which is good.
Yeah, that's exciting. This is very exciting, isn't it? It's
it is exciting. You had 3 months or 4 months almost of speculation. Now it's just going to go, and it's going to be over before we know it. But it's fun to actually see these people with each other, playing the game with each other. I think it's really fun. So
yes. So do you think after watching the episode, is it going the way you thought it would go so far? Generally speaking?
In some ways, yes. In some other ways, no. For example, you and I, when we had our theories about, who was going to team up with who, for some reason, the old school versus new thing just did not occur to us, when apparently that's the most clear-cut way that people out there are seeing it. So I feel foolish for not seeing that.
Yeah, did it really not occur to us, or did we just forget to talk about that?
Well, it didn't. Here's what happened. It didn't occur to us because I thought there were not enough old school people. However, what happened was you had new school people with connections to old school people who also believe in the old school philosophy, the slower pace of the game. And those people were able to link up with the actual old school people. So I just felt like it was so heavily number-wise in favor of the new school people, like season 16 and beyond, that I didn't think it would even be a possibility, but I was obviously wrong. So.
Yeah, I guess it does seem like there are more new school players in the pool than old school players.
It's just usually how it goes with All-Stars. I mean, you're more likely to bring back people from recent seasons. Those people are more still at a place in their lives where playing is appealing, People like Wigglesworth and Varner who played 15 years ago. I mean, I'm glad those people are back, but it seems rather rare that people from that long ago will agree to come back.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of old school players have kind of moved on with their lives at this point.
And maybe they're they want to go again, but they're super out of shape or whatever. But, I think that it's just more likely you're going to get newer people that want to play.
Yeah, so it looks like there is a little bit of that separation of old school and new school players as far as alliances go. What's the biggest example of that you saw?
Well, you don't see it so much on the Bayonne tribe. You only see it really in play on the Takeo tribe with Terry, Dietz, Wigglesworth, Wu and Vetus. See, that's where it gets confusing because Wu and Vetus are from very new seasons, but they're for some reason with the shelter people or the old school team because Vetus has the Aras connection with Terry, and Wu is just a simple-minded person, so it's better to go with the old school people.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's old school isn't necessarily literally they played a long time ago. It's like a frame. It's a frame of mind. It's a way you play the game. The old school way of playing the game is that you form bonds through doing the survival stuff. The act of surviving, that's where you're going to form the bonds. You're not just going to manufacture these bonds by going for walks on the beach, like the beach people, and forming alliances that way.
And those are bonds that you stick with. Like the whole blindside thing, I don't know if it was super common back in the way old days. You know, I feel like alliances were more likely to just stick together.
Yeah.
At least to the merge. Whereas I feel like these new school people, if they see a chance to cut someone right away, whether they're in their alliance or not, and there's a good reason for it, I mean, they won't hesitate to do it.
Especially returning players who all know what it feels like to get burned in the vote.
Yes.
So, yeah, and I agree with what you said, because with season 1, Borneo kind of set the precedent for, you know, if you get an alliance that sticks together, that's going to carry you really far in the game. And that was kind of how it usually played out in the earlier old school seasons. Was you'd see that what was the name of the first tribe? I can't remember, but that's what they call it.
I don't know. Tagi?
Yeah, Tagong or something. Tagonging.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, let's talk a little bit about some ups and downs of the episode 1 of the premiere.
Say all in all, I think it was an awesome premiere. I haven't felt this excited about a season or an episode 1 in a very, very long time. So it was awesome. And down, Abby Maria is a down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
we
I don't know how much time you want to talk about her bracelet. I feel we shouldn't even talk about it, but that was a big.
Yeah. I guess I'd like to talk about it just for a second, because I'm curious to hear whether or not, or your theories on, like, if anyone planted that thing. Was it a strategic move by someone? And if so, who do you think it was?
It very well could have been a strategic move, because apparently they got the bags and there were no names on them, and you were just supposed to put your name on one of the bags. But I think if it was strategic, I think I'm just going to pin everything on Jeff Varner, because I feel like he would do anything. And I love it. I absolutely love him. He was a major up for me in episode 1.
Yeah, I was going to ask you who is your favorite character this season based on what you saw in episode 1. And I'm guessing we both would say Jeff Varner.
without question. Because I didn't watch. I think I maybe saw 1 or 2 episodes of the Australian Outback, so this was before my time watching Survivor, so I didn't really know what to expect. But oh my God, he's amazing! His voice, just the way he talks and all the things he says, and how he wants to go with old school, but he also wants to go with new school. Oh, he's just perfect, and I hope he stays for a long time.
Absolutely, yeah. Someone I was watching the premiere with thinks he might be gay. I don't know. Do you think he's gay? I think he's married. I
don't know. He has that southern kind of, you know.
Yeah, there's like this
way of speaking.
There's this feminine way he speaks, but I don't think he's gay. Not that
I don't think it matters.
Speculating
one way or the other, but I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have you're not going to throw your hat into the ring, or you're not going to guess as to whether or not he is.
Are you still there?
Oh, sorry. Did you lose me?
I lost you for a split second, but.
Okay, that's okay. We're going off the rails here. We need to get back on track.
Yeah,
so,
we need to rein it in.
that's Google on air, Hangouts on air, telling us to get off this topic and move on. So.
Yeah.
What else? What else about the premiere?
What else about the premiere? I guess we can talk about the other tribe a little bit, the Bayon tribe. They didn't get as much airtime because they won the immunity challenge. I think we were dead on about the Alpha Male Alliance, obviously, because that was one of the first groups that formed up with Jeremy, Joe, and Savage.
Nailed it.
There's a lot of calling people by their last names in this season.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 Kelly W. Worths, so it's probably a good move.
You have to do it with them.
Yeah.
But even Probst was saying Dietz, Fishback, Wentworth, Wigglesworth. You know, he used it a lot. I think he even said Varner. I don't know. So
that's interesting.
It works maybe because it used to be such a big deal. Cochran, he had to earn being called Cochran. But now Probst is just throwing out last names on episode 1 like they've already earned it, which.
They're all worthy. They're all returning.
Well, yeah,
players.
everyone that he named has earned it. You're right, except
Yeah.
Kelly Wentworth, but you have to give her last name by default. So.
Well, I think she earned her last name status this episode.
Yeah, I think she did more in this episode than she did her whole first season. Obviously, she was voted off early in that season. I think she was like the 5th or 6th person voted off.
Yeah.
And all you really saw her was with her dad. Her dad was annoying, and he was, just trying to hang on. And I didn't really develop much of an impression of her that whole season. But this season, she's already, talking about how she hates Vetus, which was hilarious, and looking for the idol and snagging the idol, which I didn't think she was going to do. I thought she was going to lose her opportunity, because then you have to go find another clue. You know what I mean? It's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. Yep.
So she did impress me.
Yeah. I have to say, I think my favorite part of the episode was watching her looking at that idol and wondering if she was going to go for it or not, and when she actually went for it, man, I jumped off the couch. It was so fun to watch.
They did a really good job of building up the tension, because I thought for sure she'd missed her chance, because I was like, how could you possibly go back to that raft and, without anyone noticing? But somehow she pulled it off. So
yeah, she just waited for the right time, and there was a time when nobody was looking back at all, and it was easy. It was she made it look yeah. My thought was like, she put it in the back of her shorts. Like, how is it gonna stay in there when she's like leaving? Don't you think someone's gonna? You know what I mean?
I'm sure she found a way to readjust it, or just, there's ways to just kind of contort your body in a way, or maybe she made sure she was in the back of the line on the trip back, so I don't know. I'm sure she's smart. She's obviously smart, so she probably found a way. But
she's definitely smart. That move with her, basically how she used gathering coconuts and would set them halfway to find the idol. That was absolutely genius. I mean,
that was savvy.
Actually, it's not simple, really, but it's so it's so good. It's simple, but it's so good.
Yeah. Do you like the alliance that formed with Wentworth, Shireen, Abby, Spencer, and a PG and Varner? Now, are they a duo? Those two?
I think they both I think they both just know they're in the middle of those two alliances, and that kind of makes them have a common, that binds them together. So yeah, I think they're sort of working together right now. I don't think Varner has any interest in maintaining this alliance, but I think you'll see them probably do the same thing on the next vote. I have a good feeling that they could swing back to the other side and get out someone from that alliance next week. You know what I mean?
Like Spencer?
Like Spencer. Abby? Well, see, my thought is they'd be gunning for Abby Maria because she'd be the easy vote. But the thing is, they've already gone through a tribal council where they all know where the two sides are now. And now that they know this, I think Varner would be like, well, Spencer, right?
Yeah, but I think that Spencer somehow, at least the way they showed it, I feel like Spencer's surprisingly in a very good position, because I know he was already making relationships with Terry, and I don't know about Wigglesworth, but Wu he already knows. And he's in with Varner, so I could definitely see them going for one of the girls, because I think Shireen's going to be seen as the mastermind of that Vetus ouster, and so they could go for her, or they could go for Abby. I think Spencer's actually in a good spot.
No, that's a really good point. I forget that there's 4 other people, or 3 or 4 other people in that shelter alliance, and none of those people are going to want to go after Spencer. Probably they're gonna be throwing out names like Abby Maria, and
or PG,
and Varner's gonna go along with it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think he's set in either camp right now. I just think he was so petrified of it going to a tie that he was like, I'm here to play. I have to pick a side, so I'm picking the young people because I don't want to draw rocks or whatever. When it comes down to a tie, he's been screwed before, so why let it happen again?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you've heard anything about what that tribal council was really like and what got cut out of what got edited out, it's very clear that Varner was nervous, and it influenced his decision. So yeah.
So I don't blame him at all, and he gave us a good first tribal council, so I appreciate that. Once again,
yes,
Jeff Varner is the best, at least in episode 1. Maybe I'll end up hating him. Who knows? But so far, I absolutely love him. I would want to keep him around just because of his voice and the way he talks. And like, so much better than listening to Abby Maria squawking about a bracelet. Oh my God. No.
Yes, totally agree. Varner's the man. But yeah, he's got villain potential, that's for sure. So we'll see what happens with him.
But I think the people without some kind of villain potential bore me. Remember Tom Westman?
Yeah,
he's considered one of the best winners, but hello, boring, whatever.
Yeah, pretty boring winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought we should talk about Bayon. We started to, but then to Takeo somehow.
It's just the editing, you don't get to see much of the other tribes, so you don't really. I mean, I guess the first person I would think of on that tribe that I'd love to talk about would be Fishbach, because I mean, I'm a huge Fishbach fan, and but I mean, there's not much to talk about there, but I think we should talk about him for just a second.
I think there's a bit to talk about. I feel like, I mean, if you've watched any of the Survivor Know-It-Alls with Steven and Rob, you know that Steven always talks about the edit and how this person's getting a winner's edit, the kind of edit. He talks about that a lot. So I thought it was interesting to consider the horrible edit that he got in that first episode, because you know that he was talking to people, that he was having conversations with people, that he was playing the game, but they made him look like this absolute bumbling buffoon who hasn't gone to a final tribal council and come in second on a season of Survivor. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing, but they made him look so bad, and he got a really bad tribe position. So, I mean, that sucks for him. But really, I feel like they went really far in how they portrayed him. I doubt he came off that negatively.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. Like when he fell into the swamp, it was like, what is this guy doing, man? What is he doing?
I don't know. I was so sad because I was like,
yeah, because
do we have to endure this? Go ahead.
Yeah, and the casual fans are going to see that and not realize how much Fishbach knows the game. Like, he really knows his stuff, like,
of course,
and it's not coming across to the casuals at all. I did hear that he was sick. At least the first 3 days out there. Do you think that maybe was part of the problem?
Here's what I think. I think Stephen Fishbach, like me and all the best people, is a neurotic individual.
Yes.
And I think that, combined with the shock of how his tribe ended up, he wanted to work with Shireen and Wentworth and Spencer and all the, the newer school brainiac kind of people.
Yeah,
and they were all on the other tribe.
Yeah. He didn't end up with any of them.
None of them. And he was physically not feeling well. And I think it just all culminated in just a really bad first 3 days, other than the fact that his tribe won for Stephen Fishbach. But I know for a fact, because keep in mind, they barely showed Cass, they barely showed Sierra, and that he was talking to them. And Sierra is not down with that alpha male thing they've got going on. So she's not going to be like, oh yeah, let's go with the alpha males. So they're just not showing it yet. And I was going to ask you, do you feel that perhaps they're setting him up for some kind of redemption story? Like, are they making him look this bad to make him look better as the season goes on? Is this just how his story is going to be?
Oh, that's a good question. That's obviously yet to be seen. But my theory is the way they edited it, I think it's leaning more towards the redemption story thing. I would be surprised if it just continued like that and Fishbach is like the first person voted out. I would be really, really surprised, honestly. I actually have a theory that Fishbach will be the next person to find a clue to the hidden immunity idol for that tribe.
I have an inkling that he's going to have that as well. But then will he like completely...
That's why they were showing him looking. Why else would? Because I'm guessing everybody looks a little bit for the idol, but they only show certain people looking for it because they only have time to show the person who finds it. Yeah. It seems like almost every time someone's looking for the idol on the show, they find it. You know what I'm saying?
So it's as someone who's watched the show for a long time, the minute they show someone starting to look for the idol, you're like, oh, well, they're going to find it because they don't show it unless the person finds it. So it's either like a really awesome moment if it's someone you're rooting for, or lately it hasn't been people I've been rooting for. Like last year, Mike won and he was the deserving winner, but I was really annoyed when he found that idol. When Tony kept finding them, I was annoyed. When Russell kept finding them, I was annoyed. And then when Spencer found his, I was elated, but then Woo Ninja stealthed and took his clue, and I was,
Bastard.
So, yeah, he's a ninja, but he's,
dumb.
He's not a ninja. He's not a ninja up here.
At least I'm sure he's a very nice guy.
I'm sure he's the sweetest person ever. I mean, he clearly is. But
the character he plays on Survivor is not the smartest guy in the world.
No. Yeah. I do want to touch on, not literally, although many people do. Joe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe.
Because Joe
sorry.
and his yoga. We mentioned in our first episode about how our sister hates Joe, and I'm starting to come over to her side a little bit just after that first episode. Just because he's smug. She's right. He's smug.
I know. How can people like feed into it so much? Like it's like
because of what he looks like. Imagine if he looked like just a random schmo. Imagine if it was someone who looked like Keith doing that. They'd be like, "Shut up, Keith. We're not doing your dumb yoga."
Yeah. Well, honestly, to be honest, man, the first time I saw a picture of Joe, I thought he was kind of funny looking. I know I'm funny. I'm kind of funny looking, whatever. That's fine. I know this. But like I'm confused. Like cuz all of a sudden he sort of became more handsome in people's minds as just what is it? There's more to him than just the way he looks, I feel like. I'm sure he's very charismatic. Yeah, that's what I think it is.
It's his body. He's got like he's
athletic. Yeah.
He's got and the man bun is just thing that girls just eat up these days, and he has a very nice man bun on top of his head, better than mine because
you have a bit of a man bun. You have a bit of a man bun going on yourself.
This is a woman bun.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Actually, it's called a messy bun. But for some reason, when guys do it, it's called a man bun.
Oh.
Anyway,
I get it.
Point. I feel like Joe, first of all, he referred to himself as an alpha male. He did. Second of all, he didn't really seem like he had a better strategy this time. He basically said he's going to continue, and you saw it in the first challenge, he's going to continue to be a challenge beast and just, have his firm alliances. I don't know what his philosophy is. Just have firm alliances so that he won't be the one picked off. I don't really get what his strategy is going in there. He basically sounded like he's just going to do the same thing. The only smart thing, I guess, was teaming up with the other strong guys because they're a shield, I guess. But he's the shield. He is the Captain America. They are on either side. So
yeah. Well, I was going to say if that was his strategy to team up with other strong challenge beast type guys, I'd say that was a good strategy. You're right that he's probably the obvious meat shield in that alliance, but I think the potential when you build an alliance like that, man, the potential is really strong for those guys to sort of just like go all the way to the end of the game. You know, as like if they, but there's a tribe swap coming at some point, right? I mean,
I think it's going to be super early this year. I'm guessing even maybe episode 3, you might see some kind of swap.
Wow, I don't know about that. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's maybe 4, 5. It's going to be early. It's going to be really early, I think, because they want to mess with them.
Yeah. I think it was Heroes Villains where there like was no tribe swap. Yeah.
No, there wasn't.
It was very pure. It was very pure.
Yes. And I think this one's trying to be not the opposite. It's all about
craziness.
Yeah. But
chaos.
Cook Islands, when they separated the tribes by race, which was super messed up, but they were only in those tribes for 2 episodes, and then they got into 2 different tribes. So,
well, there you go. I mean,
I'm just saying it's not unprecedented to do a swap, you know, that early.
Yeah, no, it happens. It happens a lot, actually. It's happened a few times.
This is all just my optimism in the hopes that Fishback is going to get a better deal very soon. I'm worried for little Fishback. And I feel bad because I feel like he was, if you've been on his Twitter or anything, he's been like, I don't know, he's been like upset about his edit, or he's been defensive, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I overreact. Like, it's like he and Rob Sesternino got into it. I'm like, it's just, you know. Yeah,
that's ugly. That's ugly, man. I can't believe those guys would be like that. That they would do
I know. I can't do it. I don't actually think they got into it. I think
they had to have been doing it with like tongue in cheek, you know, like joking
probably.
Around. Yeah, or maybe there's some truth to it because they've been, you know, so close for so long. They're kind of getting sick of each other, maybe.
Well, I think they've been like not talking for this season. Just
they have to. He's probably on a media blackout or whatever.
Yeah,
like he can't really talk to Rob.
Either way, I just want Fishback to have a better week 2 because he didn't have a very good week 1.
Absolutely, totally, totes.
Totes my goats. Is there anything else for Bayonne we should talk about? The girls, they did not talk to the girls at all. Tasha made some comment about Joe's body. Cass came off pretty well, I thought, but she barely talked.
I have to say,
I couldn't sing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Monica rocks. She's my, in case you guys don't know, she's my pick to win.
She did not speak.
Yeah, see, that's why I picked her. She's like, she's gonna float all the way to the end. That's my Basically, I don't really think that anymore. I'm just gonna stick to my guns here, though, just in case. You know, I was right the first time. I'm gonna stick to my guns. I don't really think she's gonna win. But I did notice, this is what kind of sucks about like following the Twitter stuff, is I saw a picture of Vetus where he had like a viewing party, you know, and there were a few people from the season there watching it with him, and one of them was Monica, and I'm like, this does not bode well for her, because if she went far in the game, why would she have a relationship with Vetus? I feel like she's more likely to form a friendship with Vetus over being voted out early. So that kind of I'm just thinking too much into it, but that's my theory.
No, that's legit. That's legit, because I look at who tweets each other the most sometimes, and I'm like, oh, why do they have a bond? Like, oh, who was it? Spencer and someone. Spencer and Joe, I think? No, not Spencer.
Spencer and Woo. Or maybe
Spencer and Terry. Spencer and Terry Dietz.
Oh, so you're worried that gave away too much, because they probably.
Well, I'm just thinking they are already on the same tribe, so I guess that's enough. You know, 6 days with someone is enough to form something.
Yeah.
And and usually it's about Terry Dietz has a son who has been waiting for time. So like they're mostly tweets in support of Terry Dietz's son. So
okay.
Yeah, so it's nothing. Yeah.
I'm really hoping it doesn't mean anything, because I hate to have things spoiled for me.
No, it doesn't, because the whole Survivor 30 cast, they're like very close, and on Twitter I was like, oh, this person's hanging out with this person. It meant nothing. That whole cast is like just close. So
cool.
I wouldn't worry about it.
That's good. Okay. So yeah, back to my original thought before we talked about Monica and she's gonna lose because of Twitter. Was I wanted to say like how awesome I thought Jeremy did with Keith, and like if the reasoning behind it was that he does want Keith, because he said he did this like alliance with Keith because he wants Keith to come back and tell him if his name ever comes up. And I thought that was just like a really sweet move. If that was his actual like intention behind it, that was pretty smart.
Yeah, because Keith would be someone who's so easy to read, not good.
Exactly.
As Survivor, and he's not good at like keeping stuff. Use that. He could pretend he's like his alliance mate, but in reality, he's just his little bird on his shoulder giving him all this information.
Exactly.
So that was a smooth move. Is he then the number? Go ahead.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. What was he the number? What
was he the number 5 in their alliance? Because it's Joe, Savage, Jeremy, Tasha. Is Keith number 5? Does that give them 5 then?
Yeah, I think so. I think it sounds about right.
Okay.
Well, there you go. So that's that alliance. But don't you need 6 to win a vote?
Yeah, but they have Cass. You know how easy it is to swing Cass. So I wouldn't, I mean, they could just get Cass and then get out Fishback. Bye,
that's
Steven.
Right. Bye-bye, Steven.
So sad.
Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, so you got any notes there we can go off of here, Catie?
Well, we've actually hit a lot of the stuff I was going to talk about.
Cool.
Well, the one person we haven't talked about is the person who got kicked off.
Vetus.
So perhaps we should give a little, a farewell to Vetus and talk about maybe what he did wrong, or maybe he didn't do anything. People were just after him. I don't know.
Yeah. I initially thought that I initially bought the edit, and I was like, Vetus, you just played like crap, man. You played such a bad game. But then listened to some of the, after show talk stuff that goes on. And it sounds like Vetus just got a bad edit. And the real reasoning behind it was he was a threat, right? I mean, isn't that what you've heard?
I think that's probably what Vetus wants people to think. And I think that's definitely a big part of it. Because before all the pregame stuff, not everyone, but a lot of people were talking about Vetus. However, you and I, in our pregame podcasts, we talked about how Vetus has the tendency to be douchey and smarmy.
Yes.
And this time he was with girls who weren't having it. And so I think that just kind of fueled the fire within Shireen, because I really think she was the one behind it. About, this guy's already rubbing people the wrong way. He's a threat. Maybe she saw it as a good excuse to get him out.
Mm-hmm.
And she just ran with it. But I also, and I don't remember where I read this, but, she had all that problems, all those problems with
all damn problems
with male authority figures, and she was like, she's probably got fresh wounds from her last season with Will and Dan, and she caught one bad vibe from Vetus, and she was like, nope, he's got to go. Not even dealing with this season.
Right. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to downplay the way he was acting to these girls, because like it was just bad, and obviously that played into it on some level. I just think there was a little more to the vote than they were able to show in the edit. But yeah, he really did kind of screw himself. It had to play into it quite a bit, right?
Yeah. But to his credit, I think he made those attempts. Like they showed him talking to Kelly Wentworth, and they showed him trying to talk, even about superficial things like yoga with Shireen and Abby, but they were just so not open to it and not receptive to anything. And obviously that's part of his approach. He had a creepy approach. I think it was definitely a combination of both of those things.
Yeah, I tend to believe too that Vetus could definitely sense this unwillingness to give him a chance. I'm sure it was one of those things where he just couldn't break through. You know, like he might have felt like he could try to break through this cold wall, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And so yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was the one going home, though. I thought for sure it would be Abby. But then when when the vote is going down, you haven't really processed it. But then thinking about it and how the edit was playing out, of course it was going to be Vetus and not Abby.
Yeah, I was one of those people that was on the side of, I thought the edit was pretty telegraphed. I knew exactly which tribe was going to win the challenge before the challenge happened. I mean, why would they show so much Abby, Maria, and Vetus chaos? You know, why would they show that if they weren't going to lose? So like, I knew who was going to win. I have to agree with the people that say that editing was a little too telegraphed this episode. Even though it was a great episode, the editing was
because they didn't show the Bayon tribe talking about who they'd potentially vote off. There was a little bit of discussion about
Fish bomb.
How Savage didn't have a good feeling about Fish for some reason because of Survivor Wikipedia said something he didn't like. So that was the only talk you even got about that. So obviously you knew that they weren't going to have to worry about sending anyone home. So. Yeah, It was a bit, but I think that's kind of par for the course for Survivor. You're usually able to tell, like, what's going to go down. Yeah,
sometimes it's a little tougher to tell than others, though. This one was really obvious, but you know, what are you gonna do? That's part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know if there's anything you can do.
All right, so you got any other notes there? We can talk about a couple more things.
I think we've covered all that I have. I had this idea that we should have at the end of, I'm not sure if we're at the end yet, but at the end of each of our podcasts, we should have an episode MVP. We should each pick one.
Ooh, that's fun.
And it can be like, it doesn't have to be someone who's playing particularly awesome, but it could be like, so from an entertainment standpoint, just who your personal episode MVP would be.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's do it.
Do you want to get into that now? Should we wrap it up and do that? Or do you want to talk about anything else?
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, we'll probably just get into that. I guess, do we want to do any sort of like predictions for next week, or would that like ruin the fun if like we're actually right and we start
no,
like being
I think it would add another layer if we actually are right. So
yeah, and we love being right. Like, let's face it, it's part of the fun of Survivor. We love to predict what's going to happen.
Yes, but I'm always wrong. I'm trying to think if I've ever predicted the winner correctly.
I got Cochran. Cochran, I got that one right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever. I think I've come close, like second place.
I've come close a lot.
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty close.
The people I pick in my defense usually make it pretty far, but I don't know if I've ever actually picked a winner. So
I picked Wu for Cagayan.
He got close. He could have won, but he's a moron. So
yeah, and I picked Malcolm for Philippines. It's pretty close. So fourth place, I think.
I picked, Chelsea for One World. I think she got third, but she made it.
I actually picked Kim. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yes. So there's another one. There you go.
Way to go.
Yes.
So what do you think is going to happen next week? You think that Takeo's going to go on? Are they going to be the new Oolong? Are they going to get TKO'd by Bayon and just keep losing?
Well, usually the previews help a lot for me to kind of gauge what I think is going to happen next week. And I don't really remember watching the previews that much. Seems to me there was a lot of Abby Maria in there. So what do you think? What do you think that means, that there's going to be a lot of, bad villain Abby Maria in the next episode?
I think Takeo's going to lose again, which is great news for Fishbach.
Yeah.
But I think that Varner is going to maybe consider going back with Terry and those guys, and that's going to throw Abby and Shireen in kind of a tizzy, and they're not going to know what to do. But I don't know who the casualty of that will be. Yeah,
I seem to remember seeing a preview today, even
football during the football.
Of course. Well, those two were sitting talking to each other, and I feel like that might be foreshadowing something. Like you said,
worried.
Yeah,
they
like you said,
worried.
Where it's one of those two. So that preview is enough to guess that you're totally right, and it will be one of those two. And my guess would be for Shireen.
What? No. I hope not. I think.
Why would those guys go after Abby Maria? Vetus set the precedent for the way they're going to vote. You know what I'm saying?
I think Varner might go back with him and be like, I'll throw you a bone and get rid of Abby because Abby sucks. I don't know. I feel like they'll get rid of Abby. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
I think Varner's tighter with Shireen than he lets on. I think he and Shireen are good with each other. So I don't know if he'd go for her.
That's a good point. I forget that they actually seem to be talking strategy and thoroughly enjoying it. He was thoroughly enjoying talking strategy with her. So I forget that maybe he won't consider that a threat right away. I mean, he considers it a threat, but yeah, he'll want to keep her around so they can keep doing that for a while, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally see what you're saying now. I'm going to stick to my guns though and say Shireen is going home.
Oh, that'd be a bummer, but you know, when you play hard, you risk, people finding out about it and just.
I liked Vetus too, man. He was so good in Blood Water that I really wanted to see him play more. So, but that's Survivor. You know, he's gone now.
Someone's got to go home first. Before this season started, I was like, man, one of these people is going to be the first one gone, and it's just going to suck for them.
Yeah, it just sucks, but that's the game. Luckily, Vetus is very zen, and he's grounded, and hopefully he'll be able to move on from this.
I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. So MVPs, we never did the MVPs, did we?
Yeah, let's do our MVPs. Like you do one and I do one. It doesn't have to be the same person.
Okay, my episode MVP will be Kelly Wentworth.
Yeah, she was on my list.
Obviously, because like I said, my favorite part of the episode was watching her hidden idol stuff. I can't help it. I freaking love the hidden immunity idol stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's just something so cool about it. I don't know, finding hidden immunity idols and like this whole new idol thing and the way she played it, how she found the clue, it was all just amazing TV. Yeah. And it's all because Kelly. I give my MVP to Kelly.
I was going to ask you one thing about Kelly and her idol. I was going to ask, do you think she will tell anyone, or do you think she will just keep it to herself?
That's a really good question. Rob actually had a podcast where he talked to a statistician about the odds, how the odds play out when you share the idol with one person, whether you keep it for yourself or whether you share it with the tribe or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could remember exactly how it plays out, but I want to say that it pays off the most to not tell anyone.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me, because then you have the shock, like no one will see it coming.
Yeah.
So,
but there's also
that's probably what I would do. But
there's also the people who have gotten voted out with it in their pocket because they didn't tell anyone. And
that's true.
Honestly, I feel stupid now for even bringing it up because I don't remember which one was the most successful way to do it. Let us know in the comments if anyone remembers what it was. But
my guess would be it's probably the best when you tell like one or two other people, because it keeps that person you've told absolutely in your camp and on your side. And I think
it forms a two-person alliance that's really strong when you share something like that.
So if she had to tell one person, who do you think she would tell?
At this point, I would have to say Shireen. It seems like those two are bonding the most. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think perhaps Spencer. For some reason, I think maybe she'd tell Spencer, but I don't know.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, okay, I need to have an episode MVP.
Go for it.
And my episode MVP is Jeff Varner, just because he is TV gold, and I think he should be on every season of Survivor now and forever.
Until the end of time.
Yeah. He was just so articulate the way he talked, and he's the one that caused kind of the drama. He's the one that made the decision to swing and get rid of a big player. He got bit in the ass by something, which was really funny. Yeah. So
yeah, he's emotional. Like, he has a lot of emotional stuff going on, and that's just fun to watch.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the thing he said about being on a quest, like he's 50 and he's on a quest, and is that setting him up for some kind of big arc here in this season? So who knows? I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's like really no such thing as a hero's edit. It doesn't ever like really pan out. If like, it rarely in a season of Survivor does it pan out where there's a hero edit and that person wins, but sometimes there is. And if there was, I thought it was just a really good little first episode interview where he said the thing about most guys have a midlife crisis and they buy a Corvette. And I go out, play Survivor for my second chance, and like I'm having a midlife quest, you know. And I thought that was like very hero edit stuff, and hopefully that's how it pans out. I hope he at least goes far into the game.
Yes.
So
I hope he is around for. He's got to at least make the merge. Otherwise, that will make me very sad, and a lot of people very sad. I think he came off looking really good. It did make me worry that he'll, maybe talk too much and it might get him in trouble.
Yeah, that's a real possibility, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he came off looking really good in that episode. So maybe you'll see Varner and Fishback. Varner will slowly come off looking worse and worse, and Fishback will rise. But I'd like them both to do well, so who knows?
Absolutely.
It's episode 1.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think that's it for this episode of TV is Our Real Mom. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. This is the first time we've tried doing something like this, so I'm sure we'll get better as we go along. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.